Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Let's get ready to rumble! This one by Mattingly. Oh, hang on to the roof. Montana looking, throwing in the end zone. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Little roller up along first. Behind the man. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight and the Mets win it.
Yes, welcome back to Sports and Sorts. This is episode 174, and we are here on a Monday morning. We normally go live on YouTube every Monday and Saturday morning around 10-ish. Today it's 10:10, so if you like our videos, be sure to give them a thumbs up and click on that subscribe button so you can be notified whenever we go live. You can also find Sports and Sorts anywhere podcasts are played. Visit our website at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. I am one of the hosts. My name is Shane Moore.
Oh yeah, hey, I'm the Brian Man. Sorry, I've been distracted by a million things this morning, as you know, as we were talking. Some of which I do not want to get into at the start of the show. But before we start, I do want to wish a very quick happy birthday to my oldest child, my 13-year-old daughter Caitlin. We officially have a teenager in the house. It's official. I am old as F.
God.
We have a 13-year-old teenage girl in the house, but I'll tell you though, I put up an Instagram post this morning with a picture of her, and I wrote in there that you know her birthday was truly the happiest moment of my life. It really was. That you've got 2 kids, and you know, look, you always talk about you always try and you love your kids evenly, right? That's sort of the idea. I actually always joke that my middle child is my favorite.
Yeah.
She is, but but I will tell you though, there is nothing like, and I know you can probably attest to this with Cam, but there is nothing like the moment when you hold your first kid.
It is, yes, it is. It is something
because you can't replicate that. No matter what, you can't replicate holding your firstborn.
Mm-hmm.
So
It
happy
is.
birthday to her. She is. I'm starting to refer to her as the conqueror because I just believe she's going to be a world beater, and so and we're very proud of her. She's so smart. She's so unimaginably smart. Like Melissa and I are so confused by how intelligent she is, especially when it comes to like school, because she gets grades like I never got at any level, and like that Melissa, like it is inconceivable, and that Melissa and I never got at any level. Like she's a straight A student, and if she gets anything less than an A, she gets like legitimately pissed.
Yeah.
And like, look, like she gets the competitiveness from me. That part I understand, but the intelligence, I don't know where that comes from. If intelligence skips a generation, then I get it, because my mother-in-law and my mother were both very, very smart and very good in school. So I'm guessing like that's where it comes from, but it's not from her parents. That much I can tell you. But anyways, happy 13th birthday. I hope she's having a great day at school today. But that's a special one now.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, 13, huh?
And a 10-year-old last week. So.
Oh man. Ooh. Yeah. You are on.
There's
fire.
only one kid in the house now in single digits. So.
You are on fire. Whew. That's I'm. My son's gonna be 11 at the end of this month. So I'm.
Yeah.
And my daughter's 6, and it's gonna be it's crazy. It's all going so fast. But
yeah.
You can find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Brian Man. You can find us on Twitter at Shane and Brian Man, where we post all of our videos, other newsworthy topics, things like that. And lastly, if you comment during the show, we will put it on the screen. So
anything you put on that monitor, we will say. We will repeat it. We will read it.
Oh, here we go. We got Chad Davis joining the show, saying sports and sorts, more like shorts and jorts. Oh, I like jorts. I want jorts I want them to be brought back.
I am not John Cena. I do not wear jorts. That's not a...
He's like the only person that could actually get away with it. Like maybe The Rock. Rock could probably get away with it. You know, just because he's so big. Like,
Cena's just been doing it for 15 years,
yeah.
So, I mean, at this point...
But that was
it'd be weird to see Cena in anything other than jorts.
But yeah, but I mean, even Cena, when he started doing it, it was still well after the jorts. You know?
God,
like,
yeah.
It was like, he kind of like tried to bring it back, but it never really came back, and he just kept running with it.
Yeah, no, he didn't. To his credit, that guy has never, despite any pressure that has come to John Cena from the internet and social media, that guy has never wavered in his character or who he is. He is.
You can't see him.
I will give John Cena credit, and I've never been a big John Cena fan. Not the wrestler. I love the guy. I love the actor. I think he's hilarious.
Funny.
But man, as far as his wrestling character goes, WWE has never bent to public pressure about him, whether it's his wardrobe or anything else, or his character. Like, people have wanted him to be like a bad guy forever, and like they just won't do it. They don't do it. They don't do it because he's got such a relationship with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it would be bad. It would be really. He's the most requested Make-A-Wish Foundation celebrity.
Awesome.
So
that's why.
Yeah, he is. No, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
All right, so today we got a lot to talk about. We got sports side of it. We got Yankees lose 2 of 3 to the Orioles, and the Bryman was seething. And I'm wondering how he's feeling about this terrible weekend after hopefully a good night's sleep. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that. Probably getting to a little other MLB, and also we have some sorts to talk about today. I watched a few things. I watched a couple of movies that I hadn't seen yet. One is several years old. Another one is a couple months old. I finally got to that, watched it. And then I also started a new TV show, which was Mr. Robot. And I know that people have been telling me to watch that for a while. I just finished Red Oaks on Amazon, which is phenomenal. I don't know. Do you have Prime, Brian?
No.
Dude, Red Oaks is right up your alley, man. It's in the 80s. It is absolutely hilarious. Paul Reiser is in it. Like, it is so incredibly good. I highly recommend it. It kind of wraps up pretty quick at the end because they didn't continue the show after 3 seasons, but it is so good. All about it. And it's so 80s, which is great. All right, so we got a great show. Let's go.
You are listening to Sports and Swords with Shane and the Bryman.
All right, so let's start off with
The state of the Yankees.
we got to get into this because, oh my goodness, was it a poor start to the year? It would have been very different if we had our show on Saturday, and we were able to talk about, opening weekend, and Thursday they played and they played well, and then Saturday came along and Sunday came along and
Thursday.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so there's a lot that we need to talk about. I mean, there's things that have been happening in the lineup. There's errors. There's coaching decisions. There's stuff all across the board that needs to be brought up. And I'm sure this will go into a couple of other topics throughout baseball, because if you look at the records across baseball, it's a little backwards right now. But I want to hear what the Bryman has to say after this first opening weekend against potentially one of the worst teams in baseball.
If you looked at Thursday's game, which was opening day, you thought to yourself, this is the blueprint for the Yankees this year. Solid starting pitching. Tanaka came out, he was solid. He wasn't great, he wasn't spectacular, he didn't have his best stuff,
but he's good.
But he was good. The lineup produced 7 runs, and the bullpen was exactly what you wanted it to be. Ottavino looked great in his first appearance. And, by the way, I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about seeing
0
a Yankee wearing a number 0, but I have to admit it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. But Thursday was everything you wanted it to be as a Yankee fan. Like, that's the blueprint, and to me, that's how you, I think, figured the signature of this team would be in winning games. Solid starting pitching, okay? Then you have your bullpen come in, your offense puts up somewhere between 5 or more runs, and you're off to the races. And then Friday you're off, so you're feeling good about things. Then then Saturday and Sunday come. And here is my problem. Look, I would have felt bad. I would have been disappointed if they had actually won 2 of 3, because going into this series, and I'm not joking, and I know this may sound bad coming from somebody like me who we do this show and we talk about sports.
Yeah.
Legitimately, and I mean this legitimately, going into this series, I could only name one Oriole player. And I bet you could guess who that was.
Adam Jones? Is he still even on the O's? He's not even on the O's anymore, right?
No, he signed last week with he signed like
Chris
1 year.
Davis is the guy.
He signed like a what? No, and it actually wasn't even Chris Davis. Trey Mancini was the only guy I could think of that popped into my head. And oh my God, what damage did he do over the weekend, by the way? He was unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like the one guy in their lineup, because Chris Davis is awful.
Oh, he's terrible.
But Trey Mancini was the only guy I could actually legitimately think of. And the Yankees lost 2 of 3 games to this team. Happ came out yesterday, immediately got shellacked, and the Yankees could not get up off the mat. They tried, they could not. And then in that second game, who pitched in that game?
Paxton.
Yeah. I mean, he was. He just didn't have it.
No, I don't know. He was motoring through the first several innings.
Yeah, and then the Yankees couldn't score, and you knew that was good. Here is my big takeaway from this weekend, and I know Yankee fans are going to probably want to say, look, you don't want to put too much stock in opening weekend. Even the 1998 Yankees started off terrible. First of all, don't utter the 98 Yankees in comparison. All I heard about going into this season, especially from the New York media, was how this team was a juggernaut offensively and how this team had better start. They had improved their starting pitching and their bullpen was even better than last year. And
not yet. I mean, that's the whole thing is Betances isn't back yet. So,
and I have to admit, when I heard all that, I was really scratching my head because I still felt like something was. First of all, offensively, I do not believe that this team is a juggernaut. I think there's a lot of holes in this lineup. I think that this lineup is very vulnerable. I think the fact that Giancarlo Stanton looks to be the exact same guy that he was a year ago is really scary. Every moment over this weekend when there was a potentially big at-bat for him, he failed miserably. There was one at-bat where it was strike 1, strike 2, strike 3, and he did, like we were joking about this on the Yankee text group, I think my brother said, that at-bat was an at-bat that any of us could have had. It was just awful. He looks lost in New York, and maybe he is. Maybe we're going to come to find out that he's A-Rod, that he's a statue, that he's nothing more than a physically gifted, aesthetically pleasing guy, but nothing beyond that. He's not going to be, I'll tell you, and I got, there was another text from the Yankee text group this morning that was like, man, oh man, imagine if the trade that we had made from the Marlins was Christian Yelich instead of Stanton. And I actually replied and I said, I think you have to wonder whether or not the Yankees would have won the World Series last year if it had been Yelich instead of Stanton. And think about that for a second, because that is definitely a possibility. If you think about the year that Yelich had, now who knows if he has that year in New York? But let's say he does, replicates that, and maybe he's the MVP and not Mookie Betts. You have to wonder if Yankees are defending world champions this year. But forget about all that. Just think about what you saw this weekend. Here is what scares the daylights out of me going after one series. It appears to me that nothing has changed since the end of last year. The Yankees are still questionable on offense and still have holes. Their starting rotation on paper seems better, but ultimately didn't do that well. Now, I will grant you that Severino is out and CeCe is out, so you're certainly missing a couple of guys. But even still, in the first 2 games, you had Tanaka and Paxton. You figure, okay, well, we're going to win those games. And then the bullpen, again, on paper, better, but wasn't great by any stretch over the weekend. And then here's the other thing. The manager is still making head-scratching decisions. Yesterday's game is 5-4 going into the 8th. Still very, very winnable game. Why? Can somebody tell me why Zach Britton wasn't brought into that and Stephen Tarpley was? I don't understand. So, you expect that Aaron Boone, this sophomore manager, is going to he's not going to make the same mistakes that he made in his freshman year. And yet here we are in the opening series against a clearly inferior team. And against, listen, all due respect, that is a AAA at best team. A AAA at best team that the Yankees face this weekend. No one can convince me of anything different. That is not a Major League Baseball team. Yeah. And they went into the Behemoth's house and took 2 of 3. I'm sorry, but look, maybe who knows? Maybe the Yankees go on and win 10 straight and we kind of laugh this off or something like that. Or they win 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10 or something. We were like, all right. Clearly opening weekend was just it was a mirage. And it was a nice memory for the Orioles, who are still going to be an absolutely horrible team no matter what. But I don't care. This was an absolute horrendous disaster of an opening weekend. You cannot convince me otherwise. Mm-hmm. Even if they had won 2 out of 3, I would have been like, oh. I mean, that's not good. It's still not good this is a bad Orioles team. But to lose 2 out of 3 on a weekend when Boston goes into Seattle and gets dominated and loses 3 out of 4, and you could maybe make like an early weekend statement and be at worst 2-1 with Boston coming out of Seattle, heading down to Oakland, 1-3, you would have felt really good about it. And yes, you're right. Right now, things look a little bit reversed in this division, although Tampa is every bit as I said last week, I thought that was going to be a pesky team. I still think they're going to be a third-place team, but it's going to be a pesky third-place team. And they look good, taking 3 of 4 from Houston in Tampa to open the start. Listen, Yankee fans, I'm not saying to jump off the Brooklyn Bridge yet, but what I am telling you is this team may very well be similar to last year. And you might think, well, the last year's team won 100 games. I don't think this team's going to win 100 games. Not in this division. Not with I think Toronto and Tampa being better than they were last year, and not with the Red Sox still being formidable despite what you saw in Seattle. But I'm telling you right now, Yankee fans, if this is a harbinger of things to come, the New York Yankees are in a lot of trouble. It's going to be a long season, and it's going to feel a lot like last season, which. They won 100 games, but did it really feel like they won 100 games? Did you ever feel confident that this team was going to advance far into October? I did not. I knew they were going to lose to Boston. I think a lot of people did. So I don't feel like I'm going out on any kind of a limb there. But this team, right now, off of this opening weekend, reminds me completely of last year's team with almost no changes, and I don't feel good about that.
Okay. I'm with you, but I'm not with you. It's very early in the season. Obviously, lots of things are kind of a little haywire right now. I mean, the Braves, who a majority of people have picked to win the NL East, are 0-3. The Boston Red Sox are, 1-3. Yeah. The Royals are in first place right now. The baseball in general tends to work itself out. I mean, this is law of averages. Of course it does. The law of averages are the cream will eventually rise to the top for the most part. There are, teams that just kind of eventually, they have hot streaks. I mean, this is also a game of streaks. And like the A's last year, the second half, they were lights out. So that's what helped propel them into the playoffs last year.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, there are things like that can happen. But, for the most part, we have to take a deep breath. But I do want to say a couple of things about the Yankees and in general. And I have a couple of different people I want to kind of go after. And then I want to hear what you have to think about that, which is, first of all, Greg Bird is continuing to look like Greg Bird, except for that he's healthy at the moment. He's, looking at a lot of pitches. He's kind of doesn't seem to really understand the MLB strike zone. He seems like he's still has that minor league strike zone, which is, it's fine. He's playing okay. But as far as Luke Voit goes, he is abysmal at first base. I'm sorry. I love the guy's bat, but they need to figure something else out for him because he cannot play first. He is awful. Mm-hmm. I know it's really early in the year, but if this is any indication at all of his defensive prowess, we are in a lot of trouble. I never thought I would say this, but we might actually have to move DJ LeMahieu as our first baseman, which is such a waste of his glove because you all saw all the level of what his glove can do in the field. And but we could use a more consistent bat and a gold caliber glove at first base. And you might say, Shane, DJ has an error too. Well, that error was because Luke Voit is a moron when it comes to picking balls, and he fell over trying to pick DJ LeMahieu's ball from third, and that would have been an out. He fell over trying to pick the ball. It is terrible. And then you can move over to Gary Sanchez, who already has 2 errors. One of those, I believe, is Gleyber Torres' fault. He didn't knock the ball down, and that is a problem I've had with Gleyber Torres all last year, is that he's a little bit lazy and lacks a little bit of the mental prowess that you need over at when you're playing in the middle infield, is that you need to be mentally prepared just as much, if not more, than you need to be physically prepared. Because he has a problem with not making the right decision quite a bit. When the ball comes to you from the catcher, the first thing you need to do, especially if there's a man on anywhere else in the field, you need to knock the ball down. Yeah. And I said that about the Orioles too. Their shortstop was going up the middle on DJ LeMahieu's base hit, and Gleyber Torres ended up scoring. I said Cameron was like, "Oh, he got a base hit." I was like, "Yeah," and he's like, "You know what? That run wouldn't have scored if he was mentally prepared, because if he was mentally prepared, he would have dove, knocked that ball down, and they would have saved themselves a run." But that's what happens with these young players. And I kind of talked to him about that, and then sure enough, it happens with Gleyber Torres the next day. So and that's something that I was really upset with Gleyber last year. But we can get into Miguel Andujar, who has already made an error, and he's only had 5 balls hit his way. Yep. And I am willing to take more of a wait-and-see approach from him, because DJ, he can play third base and he can play first, but if Bird can hit, I would rather have Bird play first base. I would rather have DJ play third, but technically I would really rather have DJ play second, and I would like to have Gleyber Torres move over to third, and I would like to see Andujar's trade bait, maybe DH and be trade bait, because DJ playing second base is now you have a formidable up the middle infield. Troy Tulowitzki has been playing great in the field. DJ LeMahieu is a Gold Glove caliber second baseman. He's a Gold Glove caliber infielder. But then you have Gleyber Torres, who now has to rely more on reaction, which I think will benefit him, because people that have time to think about things, if they're just relying on their athleticism, third base will probably work out a little bit better. So I would like to see that transpire. I would hate to see Andujar go, because I think he is such a talented bat. I think there is a potential that he could be better in the infield, but as of right now, I'm not sold. So that's how I would like to see it. And like maybe even if Bird is struggling at first, like hitting, if he's having a hard time hitting, then maybe when Didi comes back, then you move Tulowitzki over to first base, because I'm sure he can pick it up relatively quickly. I know it's not going to be a smooth transition, but he's going to be able to pick balls, and he's going to have more range than Voit. So he's probably not going to hit like Voit, but he'll save you more runs. He'll get on base, and in this lineup, that would be huge, to just keep his bat in the lineup and keep him moving around. And then maybe occasionally, maybe like, I don't know, when you're looking to give Tulowitzki a rest because you don't want him to get hurt, then put Voit in at first, or then move Greg Bird over to first, or something like that. It's all crazy. This whole thing is a little bit. There's a lot I'm nitpicking at. But there's a lot of things, like you said, that we saw from last year that are coming over to this year, and that is something that I have a little bit of a problem with, particularly mental stuff. Mental stuff is a problem. Luke Voit is obviously completely at first base. That's completely physical. Like, he just can't play the position. He just doesn't have.
He's too bulky. There's not enough. Well, he's not limber. He's not really limber.
There's plenty of people that have been like Frank Thomas was huge.
Right.
But he wasn't a Gold Glove caliber, but he was serviceable. He was very. Yes, Jeff Bagwell was huge, yes. But they could move.
They had some mobility.
They had the footwork to be able to do it, and he just doesn't seem to be able to have he doesn't have that. Now, if you go to the pitching side of things, now the pitching side of things are tough for this team because they just aren't healthy yet, and I can't really pick apart this side of them yet. It's so early, and the starters don't have as much leeway to kind of wiggle out of trouble. Plus, Betances is still hurt, so we have pitchers like Tarpley, and Sessa in the pen, and which is never good.
The bane of my existence.
But the good news is that Betances should be back relatively soon. So I don't know. I'm gonna give the pitching side of things a little bit of a break because Tarpley should not be in there. And I don't know what the deal is with Boone. I don't know what his decision is and why he makes these moves. It's like, the whole thing with Shreve, like keep throwing him out there, keep throwing him out there, keep throwing him out there,
right.
And watching him getting shellacked. Like, I thought Shreve had the potential to be decent, but I wouldn't throw him in there in key spots, if you're trying to keep the game close. I don't know.
I just don't know, like, in that spot, again, why wasn't Britton in?
Yeah.
Why is it's a 5-4 game.
Yeah.
There
was another issue where it was early in the game. I think it was like in the 4th or 5th inning, and Boone brought the infield in.
Right. Yes, that was another one.
I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And there was a ball that the shortstop would have caught, I think.
Yeah. Yes.
Like if he was just back a little bit further.
It's absolutely true.
I was like, what? Why?
Yep.
Why is the infield in?
It was like a desperation move because to me that says we don't feel like we can score any more runs.
Yeah.
So we absolutely. Oh, by the way, you were already down. Anyways, you're already down 4-3. But yes, it was a desperation move, and it cost him a run. And that was when Sessa came in. Sessa came in, and that happened the first. And then actually, Sessa looked good after that. But I still don't want him anywhere on this roster. It's a joke to me that he's actually employed in Major League Baseball. But I was actually commenting yesterday that I think Sessa is. I don't think I've ever hated a Yankee more other than Steven Drew. Steven Drew is probably the only guy I've ever hated more than Luis Sessa. At least that I can think of off the top of my head. And I despise Steven Drew with an unbridled passion. All those things that you mentioned, I'm absolutely worried about. Boone is probably right at the top of the list of things that I'm worried about because again, it's taken you only 3 games to see that he's still making like the same mistakes. Again, the infield, those two things that we both brought up between the infield being in and then not bringing Britton in that spot, as opposed to so here's what happened. I will tell you, and this scares me. This scares me to think that like average people like you and me and these guys that we text with on this Yankee group, it scares me to think that we might know how to manage a bullpen better than Aaron Boone. Like I'm sorry, but that scares the crap out of me because that should not be the case.
Yeah.
We are guys who talk about sports. We don't even get paid to do this. And I swear to God, we could manage a bullpen better than Aaron Boone. Because all right, so look, I walked away. So, like, I think it was, I don't remember what the score was. But I think it was, they were down 4-3 or whatever. All I know is I tuned back in, it was 5-4. It was 5-4. I walked away from the game for a little bit because I was watching the Duke-Michigan State game, which, by the way, thank God Duke's gone. Adios, Blue Devils. No Final Four, no national title. Zion can go to the Knicks, or knowing the Knicks' luck, he will not end up there, but no national championship for the Duke Blue Devils. Bye-bye. Bye, Felicia. But, so I walk away from the team, and I come back, right? And so I turn the TV on. And when I turned the TV on, the box, they had like how like the box is in the top left and it shows you the score and the innings and the outs and all that stuff. That part was not on. Mm-hmm. So all I saw was Tarpley was in the game. And I said, oh man, the Yankees must be down like 8-3 or something, or 8-4 or something like that. And then the box comes on and it says 5-4. And it's in the 8th inning. And I'm like, wait, what? Wait a minute. Wait. This is a winnable game. Why is Stephen Tarpley in the game?
Yeah.
And not 5 minutes after he gives up a 2-run home run to right field, an opposite field home run to right field.
You should have heard Susan and John Sterling, because they were like watching it and they're like, they were just completely deflated. Like this.
You could tell. Sterling can't even hide his.
And he was like, and then they were like, oh, that's really too bad for Tarpley because he had a really good spring.
That's what there was no good reason. There was literally no good reason that Zach Britton was not in that game at that moment. You are now behind only 1 run, a very good chance to win the game because you had to figure they were going to score at least one more off that Baltimore bullpen. You had a good shot to win, and you bring Tarpley in, and of course he gives up a run or two. Yeah. Of course he does. I was like, oh my God, Boone is booning it again. Boone gonna boon. He's absolutely gonna boon.
Aaron in Boone has totally it's turned into his bullpen managing.
As far as like last year, I think you and I were trying to keep like a running count of how many games we thought Boone lost this team, and I think we had it up around a baker's dozen. I already got.
That's when we stopped counting.
That's when right. I already have it through 3 games. I've already got him costing this team 1 because I'm going to give him two errors in yesterday's game. 1, pulling the infield in when it was absolutely there was no need to do it at that point in the game. 2, not having Zach Britton or somebody else. I don't care if you put on a Vito back out there. Somebody else. Anybody other than Stephen Tarpley in that spot. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm going to give yesterday's loss to Boone.
Yeah, it should. Maybe we should actually keep a running tally somewhere.
All right, fine. This is 1.
But where are we going to keep this running tally? We have to write it down.
I don't know.
Somewhere.
Do you have a piece of cardboard? I like when you write stuff on cardboard. Can you do that? What do we should maybe we should hashtag it like, Boone gonna Boone or something like that.
Aaron bleeping Boone.
Yeah, there you go. Oh, nah, it's too long of a hashtag. Just say how about just Booned?
Booner.
Yeah,
Boone-headed.
The Booner move of the month. Boonhead. Yeah, Boone-headed. Yeah, Boone-headed decisions or something. I don't know. We'll come up with something. But yeah, we are at 1 already for Aaron Boone-related losses. Okay. No question about it.
All right.
Can we talk about something other than the Yankees? Yes. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm so disgusted.
We talked a good amount of sports. I think we should, because we don't have a lot of time left. There are a couple of things I want to talk about going forward, but one of the things that I had mentioned to you real quickly through text message was that Senator Chris Murphy, and this is not something I'm going to talk about today because we just don't have a lot of time. So this is something I wanted to know if you guys think that we should talk about in future shows. But Senator Chris Murphy calls for college athletes to be paid. Now, this is nothing new. A lot of people have been saying this. There are other politicians that have been going across this platform as well. But and this is something that we talked about on the show a long time ago. But should we talk about it again and maybe a little bit more in depth? I'm an ex-college athlete who says that there is no way that athletes should be paid, and that's what scholarships are for. Now, the Bryman before had made a case for why they should be paid.
Yeah, but ultimately, I don't think they should.
But yeah,
I can make a case for why they should. And we will. I think we should talk about this in fact, that could be like an entire topic of a show because it's that important of an issue.
Yeah, and I think it's something that do you guys think that we should talk about sooner than later? Like, should we discuss it, with it maybe this Saturday or maybe next Monday if things are a little bit slow? Let us know what you think. We can spend a good 20 minutes on it and talk about it pretty in depth. So let me know what you think about if you think college athletes should be paid. Who should pay them? Another politician says that the NCAA should pay them. So, what are your thoughts? Let us know in the comments, and we'll get it on the we'll get it on the show.
And I do have, and I won't spoil it, but I do have one pretty big reason why I think they should be, and I'm very split on it, but it's sort of because of this that I think they should be, and I don't feel great about it as a reason, but I think. Without maybe giving away anything, I think it could be a good preventive measure. Let's put it that way. So, so let's. And by the way, just a quick reminder for any of our fans who like wrestling, I will have a WrestleMania 35 preview on this weekend's show. So whether it's Friday or Saturday, I know we have it. So if it's Saturday's show, then
we'll either Friday or Saturday we'll get it on there for you. We'll be talking about that, and other than that, let's. I watched a couple of things over this weekend. I talked about it, so we can get into the sports side of things. I had finally watched Aquaman. I gave it a 6 out of 10. Started off great. First half was awesome. I really liked the way that they were going, and then it just got kind of weird. It really kind of fell apart when they started doing a lot of stuff underwater. The lighting was so weird and uneven, and it's just like the whole thing was just kind of, and like then it turned into like a National Treasure kind of thing. Like it was just very all over the place, a little sloppy at times. Ultimately I kind of enjoyed it, but like the first half, I was like smiling from ear to ear because I was enjoying it so much. And then it just kind of like just fell apart. And it's unfortunate. I kind of liked the whole chase that they had, in like on the rooftops and stuff like that. Like that was, It was cool, but it didn't feel real. It felt like it was all shot on a set. And it felt like it was all, green screen and stuff like that. And that I have problems with because it's something that, you can very easily make it look so much better. So that's a problem that I had, but it's nothing huge, just something. Yeah. Other than that, I gave that a 6 out of 10. I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it.
I think your rating falls in line with a lot of the critics too. I think I think Rotten Tomatoes has it at around 62 or something like that.
If it had stayed on the path of the first half, that would have been like an 8.5 out of 10. Like it was really, really fun. And then I thought
it was. I think I had given it a 7. I don't remember what I gave it. I either gave it a 7 or a 7.5. I did enjoy it though. I think I enjoyed it a little more than you did.
So another movie that I'd watched that I had never watched before, and it's something that I've always kind of kept on coming back to, and it was Drive. Now with Ryan Gosling.
Yeah. See, I never saw that. So
that movie, I think you would like a lot. It's weird. It's really, really weird, and it takes a really odd turn in halfway, maybe a little bit more than halfway through. Like you're like, oh, this is kind of strange. Gosling doesn't have a lot of lines, but a lot of things. What's going on here? There's this kind of chemistry. Is he kind of like, mentally unstable? Like I don't know. Like there's a lot of weird things. How
old is this movie, by the way?
Several years.
Oh, yeah. It's that old. Okay.
Yeah, and. At like halfway to 3/4 of the way through, it totally changed vibe. And it was like, holy cow, this is getting like, cause you kind of started seeing like where it was headed a little bit.
Yeah.
But then holy cow, it just flipped the switch and we were like, oh my God, things are going crazy. This is really strange and weird, but also kind of cool. So I enjoyed it. I'd probably give that one maybe like a 7.5 out of 10, maybe an 8. I don't know. I would have to watch it maybe a couple more times. Relatively short too. It's only like an hour and 40 minutes, I think. And then I also started watching Mr. Robot, which I just watched the first episode. That is a cool show, and it is.
I've never seen it. But
it's so freaky. So like it totally messes with your mind. You're like, that's the new like heist.
Who's the main guy in that show?
It's the guy who's Freddie Mercury. I can't remember.
Oh, Remy Malek.
Remy Malek, yeah.
Okay.
And Christian Slater. So in the first episode, everybody talks about how Remy Malek is so good and plays this role so well.
Yeah.
In the first episode, I thought Christian Slater stole it. Like he was the best character in the show. I loved him. But I'm interested. I'm gonna be watching this for a little while to see if I really like it. I like the way that it kind of started off and how they kind of sold the whole program. It was good. But yeah, Red Oaks. I just finished Red Oaks, and that's what led us into Mr. Robot. And Red Oaks, that I was so disappointed when that show ended. It was so good. I think you'd love that. I think you'd absolutely love that show.
Speaking of which, I am going to be. I don't know if you saw. I think the news broke last week, and I am so heartbroken about this. Supernatural is ending after next year, after 15 seasons. Yep. And
I was going to text you. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I knew. It breaks my heart, though, because to me, it was just a show that it doesn't need to end because they are so, like, they keep that show, just when you think, like, maybe, it can't, like, it's run its course and how can they just keep coming up with stuff? Mm-hmm. They do. I mean, look, it's a supernatural world, so that the possibilities are theoretically limitless. It's just based on the limits of your imagination. But it's been such a great show for 15 years. I mean, I can literally think about where I was when that show first started, and when Melissa and I first started watching it. It was just 15 years ago. That's I mean, we didn't have kids. We didn't even have kids then, and we had just got married. it was a totally different time in our lives, and to think that it's ending after 15 years is wild. But man, I can't wait to see the ending. I think it's probably going to be a great send off. So
yeah, and then the other one, the last one that I wanted to mention,
yes,
on our way out, is the trailer for Brightburn, which came out about a week ago, maybe a little bit longer. But it was something that was on my radar. I was like, oh man, I can't wait to hear what the Bryman has to say, because this is. Essentially, this trailer is it gives you the reverse, like if Superman was evil, and
he was born evil.
What kind of destruction, could he cause?
Yeah,
and that it's by James Gunn, and
when I saw this, I was immediately, because I love bad guys. So you're taking my favorite superhero and you're actually turning him into a bad guy, which is just awesome. What a cool and original take. And this does not look like it's a movie necessarily for the faint of heart.
No.
I think it's going to be pretty messed up.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like there's going to be some potentially ugly death scenes here. Now, what I wonder is if in any way, I don't think there's going to be any kind of, I would assume there's not going to be any kind of mentions of Superman in here or anything like that. I would assume this falls in no way under any kind of a DC thing or anything like that. But still, they must have had to have gotten some kind of permission to do this. I don't know.
You don't need it.
I don't know. I guess not. But because the whole thing is there's this alien that crash lands into Earth, and these people take him, and Ma and Pa Kent, take him and raise him, and then not so good. Do you ever see that movie? With Macaulay Culkin when he was a kid called The Good Son?
No. This
is like The Good Son, but with evil powers. Yeah, with powers. But yeah, so I am really looking forward to this. It's actually, it's kind of funny because staring me in the face right now is this black Superman with his evil red eyes, and yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I will be there for opening weekend for that. That just looks like right up my alley.
And last but not least, but I have to show this because you're not on Facebook anymore. For those that don't know, Bryman's not on Facebook anymore.
Never been happier, by the way.
So Bryman's not on Facebook, but Clint, our man Clint, still is, right? So the one thing that I wanted to put on here is how Clint posted this and tagged you in it on Facebook yesterday.
Oh, okay.
Now I'm going to put it on the screen so you can see it.
Yeah,
and he said, so it's going to take a second, but it says, he put a caption. He said, "I have a bear claw lodged right here," and you see it. I don't know if you can see the photo yet.
I can't see it yet. No,
you'll see it in a minute.
But I already know that's a great Tommy Boy reference. So.
Yes, and so he mentioned it. And I thought that was pretty great. That was okay. That was pretty good. So you should probably see it anytime, any minute now. There's usually about a 30-second delay or so. So, all right. So other than that, thank you guys for listening, watching, however you took this in. Like I said, you can always find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Shane and the Bryman. You can find us on Twitter at Shane and Bryman. You can find me on Twitter at Einhorn
You can find me on Twitter at _Bry_man. It just showed up on my screen. And of course, right where Clint is holding it is right here.
Yes, exactly.
This region, where it would get lodged.
Yes.
Tommy, I wish I had the fat face where I could get the roll under the chin, but I can't. I can't do it. Can't force it. No, it's been years since I've been able to do that. Thank God. Yeah, no, we can't do it.
Yeah. So
we're not the right guys for that job.
Samson seats.
Oh God, I wish I could repeat that story. I would feel bad about it. I'm not gonna
inside jokes.
It's an inside joke.
Anyway, so you can you can also visit our website at www.sportsandsorts.libsyn.com. And you can check out all our podcasts there. And then you go to our YouTube channel and you can look at all our videos. We have all the clips. And then we even separate sometimes and get some best of stuff. You want to check out all of our AL and NL rankings, you can go to the best of clips. We have that. We also have, I think we segmented it off into its own playlist of AL and NL or MLB rankings for 2019. So yeah, I'm excited about this. And then we got to maybe Saturday. Maybe we should do our NL MVP, AL MVP, and Cy Youngs. Maybe do that. Maybe because if we're going to be talking about WrestleMania, we could probably fit that in. Probably hopefully not have to crap on the Yankees anymore, and we can just hopefully be a little bit happier.
We won't crap on you.
Yeah, we can be a little bit happier about how everything's going with them. But it is what it is. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. How you took this in.
Planet Globe.
We'll see you on Friday or Saturday around 10-ish.
Yeah, something like that.
Bye.
Bye. Happy WrestleMania week. Happy April Fool's Day.
Yes, happy April Fool's Day.
Enjoy your day of trickery and shenanigans and chicanery.
Tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery. That's a good one, too. I like that word. Very nice. Very nice. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for stopping by.